was only a tiny hole. Only a tiny one, and a tiny one up front. Whew, that makes me feel better. I was a little worried. See this giant dude here? Rumor has it that they hid a time capsule inside of him. I was worried they violated him and stuck it in his butt. Apparently not. This is definitely a logging town, that's for sure. Logging trucks, and more logging trucks. This guy's called Mr. PG, and it says right here, a times capsule has been placed inside of his butt. Sorry, placed inside of Mr. PG. Pretty cool. I guess when they originally built it, he was just a short guy made out of wood, and then they took him to parades. Like they said, they took him to a parade in Vancouver, and he won an award. I guess this guy has been all over the place, and then what year is it here? In the early 80s, a new PG has been constructed out of steel. It didn't say the year. Yeah, so now he's made out of steel and fiberglass with a time capsule in his butt. We're in Prince George. I wonder if they set a date on when they're going to be opening up that time capsule. Because what's the point on having a time capsule if you never open it up to find out what's in it like 50 years or 100 years down the line, right? Wouldn't that be cool? But I didn't see anything over there on the board at all about the day they plan on opening up the time capsule. Because I know for me, if I were to ever bury a time capsule, I would like to have a date to have that thing open so I can see what's in it like 50 years later or something like that. But the time capsule is pretty damn cool, but I don't know where they put it. Maybe it's just in the leg and they'll have to cut the weld on it just to take it out, but I didn't see a hole in his butt. And I was worried that they violated that poor guy because, come on, he looks like a nice gentleman sitting there, you know, flag in his hand, greeting everybody that drives into town. It's got a cool piece of history though. I didn't know that history until I read the sign. I've been to Prince George before. My ex-wife lives in Prince George. She was here before I met her, and then she moved back after our divorce. Speaking of that, you see how dirty I am? Look at this. This is gross. I should call her and be like, hey babe. She'd be like, what do you want, douchebag? Can I come over and have a shower? That's great. You want to ask your husband if this dirty van dweller can get grub in his tub? That'll go over really well. Anyway, we're not going to be running around doing any filming while we're here because it's just a big town. There's nothing in this town besides that guy that's really appealing for me to film. I find this place doesn't have that charm. And I don't really feel like running outside of town and stuff today. I just really want to get in here, top up on groceries, fuel, everything else that I need to do, and get out of town. One of the main reasons why I came here is I ordered a piece of electronic, how you word that? I ordered a piece of sound gear from a sound company in town here called Long & McQuaid. They're like a big chain music store across Canada. So I ordered a piece and it was supposed to be in today. He called me this morning. He's like, hey Chrome, got some bad news. I'm like, no. I'm like, I don't want to be stuck here all week, please. He's like, so Calgary messed up sending your thing out. They sent it out the wrong way. It'll be here in about a week. He's like, so I called them, told them you needed it right now. And they're flying it out of Calgary today. So the piece that I need will be here tomorrow. So then I'll have everything that I need to set up and connect those new nice monitor speakers that I have in the van and kind of build my DJ studio. So if you haven't seen that, it was a stack of videos back just before I left Vancouver. But I am super stoked, and it was really awesome to walk into Long & McQuaid. I walked in there and sorry for the noise. I walked in there and one of the guys is like, hey, DJ Chrome. I'm like, hey, how you doing, man? It was a guy from another music store. You know, I've bought a lot of sound and DJ gear from a company when you come up to a town up here and the staff recognize you from back in Vancouver. Was kind of nice to see a very familiar face too, and share my story, because he knew me back when I was DJing and doing tons of club events and whatever else I was doing back then. He had no idea that I stopped DJing. He had no idea that I moved into my van and started my YouTube channel. So sharing that story with people, I find is incredibly fun for me, because I never made this fully public with everybody all the time. Like, I know I was in my van for about a year before I even posted it on my personal Facebook page. I don't know anybody on my personal Facebook page. I actually went through and deleted about 3,500 people about a year and some ago. So felt good. I didn't know anybody on there. It was full of like girls from the club. I don't remember who they are. I don't know what club I met them at. I don't know. It was full of just hot chicks. So I went through and deleted them all and knocked my personal Facebook down to just friends and family, or just names that I knew, or, you know, like acquaintances and stuff. I hate Facebook, by the way. Not a Facebook fan. That's why if you follow me on Facebook or Vancity Van Life on Facebook, that's why I don't reply to any comments or posts, or very, very, very rare. Just not a fan of that whole platform in itself. But yeah, anyway, so we're out here and I'm not inspired to film anything. So today's just going to be a talking video. It sure feels good to come back to a town though. I need that balance in my van life. If my world doesn't have a splash of solitude and a splash of noise, I don't feel like I function very well. I like this stuff. Is that weird to say? I enjoy hearing a horn honk once in a while and road rage down the street once in a while, and just the buzz behind me. It's the city boy in me. But lately I've been really enjoying like the dirt in my teeth and the silence when I stop the van and shut the van off and let the dog out of the van, and we hear nothing except for a mosquito buzzing around our head because they've been really bad out here. But I need that balance, and it's gonna be hard up here on this trip to maintain that balance, because this here, Prince George, is the biggest city in the north of British Columbia. There is no other cities. This is the one. That's it. You know, so from here, from just before here and just after here, worse just after here, things get pretty small. Smaller towns, things are more spaced out, lots of just nice, beautiful highway driving and backcountry roads. So, but I have never been past here. I DJ'd, sorry if this wind's wrecking all the audio. You can hear the flag up there bumping. I DJ'd in Terrace, BC. But that was just, went into Terrace, from Prince George, went into Terrace, DJ'd, then I flew back to Vancouver from there. So I don't know the area. So anywhere from here out, I have never been. So I've made the drive before from Vancouver to Prince George a few times with the ex-wife. So I've been through all the towns that we've been through. That's why I didn't film in Quesnel. That's why I didn't film in Williams Lake. For one, I don't know, the towns just aren't inspiring me lately. And on this trip, I feel like I'm just chasing stories. You know, just driving until something inspires me to turn the camera on and say something, to tell a story, or to talk about my past, or to tell the story about an area that I'm in, or tell a story about an emotion that I'm feeling that day. And I find that when I hit the bigger towns, like this one, I'm not feeling inspired at all to say anything or do anything. That's why we're making a simple talking video here today, because this is it today, guys. That's it. Trying to maintain my balance from here forward, I think is going to be a bit of an emotional struggle for me. Because when you're closer to bigger towns, if I'm in the backcountry and I just need some chaos, I can drive an hour and get into another big town. Where going that way, I'm going to have to fight that battle that happens inside of me every time I need to seek some noise, you know? Maybe now that I'll have everything that I need to hook up these speakers, maybe I can find somewhere in the back country and just make my own noise, you know, get out there, set my stuff up, and cause my own internal ruckus around the van. As things open up over the summer, hopefully things will start to open up over the summer with all this COVID stuff, I might jump through a few provinces. I might. I've been thinking about a few things, and I might, maybe, it's just a thought, maybe in August or middle of August when the weather gets cooler on the East Coast, or back east coast, not East Coast, we're not going that far. I might go see Andy from Happy Camper Kits. I might get Andy to rework my cabinet a little bit and mount my 2 speakers right on the other side of my stove. It should be fairly simple. I kind of sketched it out and drew it out a few times. Yeah, I don't know. I've been trying to think about where to mount those things. And I would really love to go see my friends Madison and Rainer from Ray Outfitted and check out their new shop they just built on their property for converting vans in. I would love to go see it. She keeps sending me pictures of it, and it'd be awesome to go out and just drink some beers with Rainer. I miss those guys, you know? They come all the way out here all the time. I figured, you know what? Maybe I'll pop by there if they open up things a little bit with COVID later on in the summer, and maybe get a bit of work done while I'm around there too, if I got them in hand. Some other things I've really been thinking about too is my heater. So if I do go across Canada, I might think about getting a gas heater in my van. I know most of you guys always hear the term diesel heater. If I do one, we'll be doing the gasoline version of the Webasto or the Espar, one of the two. I was talking to Madison about it the other day. But if I do the gasoline version, then it just taps into my gas tank. It's a little bit more on the maintenance side of it, but I would rather just have one fuel source in my van, not having to worry about, you know, gasoline, diesel, and then propane for my stove. If I could just cut the big propane bottle out, ditch the propane heater, then I only have the 1 pound propane bottles for my stove, and then my heater will be tapped into my gas tank. Getting the heater is not a necessity part for me because my Olympian Wave 3 does work, but it's come to a point where my van, look at my van, it looks so good. It's at the point in my van build now where it's so polished the way it is, it makes me just want to put the proper heater in it, you know what I mean? One that is going to be dry and not pushing moisture in my van. But by putting a nice dry heat source in there means that if I ever step out of the van for a couple of hours, then I can leave the heater on, leaving the van nice and warm for Mr. CRUZ. Because you can do those with those heaters. You can't do that with a propane heater. I'm not leaving him in the van with a propane heater on. Are you freaking kidding me? That's my little bro down there. And I wouldn't do that to him because it's dangerous. We're doing those other ones, they're a safe, good, dry, and very effective heat source and rips the moisture right out of the van. That's it, moisture, last thing you'll ever have to think about. That's done, that's over. So if I do make that trip to Ontario, that will be a major factor in going, if I do go or not. They're sending me a price quote right now on what it's gonna cost me to have the heater installed. And to purchase the heater, because I'll be buying it through them. So we'll see how the price and everything, all that stuff works out, and if I can afford the trip, because technically that's 6,000 kilometers round trip, or 7,000, whatever, round trip, and 80 hours of driving to go from here to Toronto and back, just to see Andy and just to see Madison and Rainer. So we'll see. Let's give it a couple months and see how all this COVID stuff plays out before we make that decision. But I'll keep you guys posted anyway. Just wanted to share you guys my thoughts and what's going on with that side of things. But yeah, now that my van is starting to just, everything we're doing now is just final touches, and it feels good. It felt good to get the ladder on there. So stoked for that thing, and I get so pumped every time I climb up it. I'm pretty sure it'll get boring to climb up sooner or later, but as of right now, I'm stoked on it. Thanks for watching. We out, baby! Say bye, Mr. PG.